Hi, good morning. I'm Ravi. I wanted to talk to you on one of my favorite topics about growth. I've been meaning to shoot a little video just to talk about growth, especially when I went through some of the important phases in my life, but I could not get time. I was traveling, and when you're shooting a video, sometimes you should speak at the moment when you are full with that emotion, and that moment has definitely passed. I wish I could have shot. I wish I should shoot more frequently, no matter how prepared I am, or how presentable I look, because these emotions, when they come in, that is the best time that you blurt it out and share it to the world. So this is about growth. Now, I always believed that all growth happens when you keep punching above your own weight, right? That means taking challenges, bigger challenges than what your current capacity is, dealing with more successful and competent people, more than you, or chasing massively bigger goals. Because when you do that, that's when you are growing when you are trying to achieve something, you are trying to pursue something that is beyond your current capacity and capability. So when you stretch yourself and try to achieve those things that are beyond your current capacity and capability, that is where you stretch and that is where you grow. It's like muscle building also in the gym, right? When you use weights that are beyond your capacity, that's when your muscles are torn, and when the muscles are torn, then that is where a growth happens, because then they recover and then you build your muscles. It's the same with growth. You need to do things that are beyond your capacity and capability. That's where you grow. And I had those moments. My entrepreneurial journey itself is something that was beyond my capacity and capability. Eventually it will become the new norm, but I'm still going through that phase. So I will give you three examples when that growth spurt uh, happened, right? So number one was, obviously, when I started my journey becoming an entrepreneur, becoming comfortable to be called as a founder. uh, I had so many emotions wherein, will I be able to pull this off? So when I started putting my vision on a pitch deck, where I started sharing to people that I am capable of building a $500 million company. I started with 100 million because that is what I could project. Even 100 million was big for me. First of all, this, when you are an employee, when you are not an entrepreneur, these numbers are very scary. So when I started it, even putting 100 million revenue projection on your deck was a big thing. But then eventually, what happened is, when I started pitching more and more, investors were not very impressed with 100 million. 100 million is way too less for any worthwhile investor to take you seriously. He would want to see bigger growth. Okay, so that's when I became comfortable with the notion of 100 to 500, and then I realized that yes, I'm building something on a bigger foundation, on a bigger canvas, and this, yes, this can, in on a 10-year timeline, this can achieve a 500 million. Usually when you say 500 million, there are two things, right? Are you talking about 500 million of revenues, or are you talking about 500 million of valuation? And the way we are building this canvas, this is 500 million of revenues. That means, if you multiply this at least 8 to 10 times, then the potential is 5 billion, is how I see it. So I become comfortable to the notion that I'm building a big business. That itself is a mental growth, right? Where you imagine that yes, you are on the path to building a big business. That's how it is. So that is one level of growth, that is internal, wherein you say that yes, you are capable of building something huge. The second one I clearly remember as a growth spurt, which was beyond my comfort zone, is hiring Cameron Payne as my US advisory, head of US operations, right? I clearly remember having this conversation with him. First of all, who is Cameron Payne? Cameron is an industry veteran. He has been a VP of Industry Relations in some of the biggest companies in prop tech in the US. Massive experience, lots of experience. So he was on my podcast last year. So he was like somebody big. He was like, I kept him on a pedestal. He was on my podcast, and then this year I wanted somebody to be on my company, right? Because if I want to build something big, who am I? I'm nobody. I've not proven myself. I've always been an employee, but I needed to build a team, right? So that's how you will gain credibility, and not just credibility. Even to pull this off, I need help, right? So I had approached Cameron. I had sent him my pitch deck. Cameron at that time thought that I am pitching him to invest into my company, and he didn't even bother to look at my deck. He said, "Oh no, I'm not interested to invest at this point of time." I said, "No, no, no. I did not send you the pitch deck to invest in my company. I sent you the pitch deck to explore possibilities to collaborate. If you see the vision as mine." It was through a LinkedIn message. So even that was a shot in the dark, right? So I was taking a shot beyond my capabilities. And to my luck, he responded within a week and said, "Okay, let's have a chat." So he came and we had a chat, and in that chat, I used all my courage, all my creativity, all my resourcefulness to have the guts to say, "Why don't you join my company?" Okay. And as I was saying that, I could realize that I was faking it, because I did not have, I was not naturally confident, because this is the first time ever. First of all, the entire journey of building my own company is new, and now I am going to be hiring somebody who's a big deal, right? So I still remember when I was having that conversation. I also remember I tried to take example from how Steve Jobs was trying to recruit the CEO of Coca-Cola to come to his company and lead the company, and where he said that, so Coca-Cola was huge at that time, and Apple was still this new exciting thing, definitely not as big as Coca-Cola. But the way Steve Jobs pitched this guy was, "Hey, do you I know you are the CEO of Coca-Cola, but do you want to spend the rest of your life selling sugar water? Okay, so this is, or do you want to make a dent into this world?" So that sealed the deal. So that's when he came back and joined Apple. So I took that emotion, I took that example, and I said the same thing to Cameron. I said, "Hey, Cameron, you have been in this industry for long, yes, but don't you want to kick some ass here to some of these competitors and build something really new, really new age, uh, technology enabled, and something cool, something global, something big?" So I made this pitch, and I think that worked. Of course, it's a combination of, it's not just my pitch, right? It's a combination of a sound business model. It's a lot of that, and also it's luck, because Cameron was in between two jobs, so he was also available. And then, so that was a growth phase for me. And then today Cameron joined. I still remember having my first conversations with him post joining, doing a press release together. All these were new things that were beyond my capability. And I still remember having a conversation where I started giving him tasks. So, because I have hired him, and he was very expensive. Now I have to give him quarterly goals on what I expect of him and stuff like that. So this itself was big thing for me. So that is one growth spurt. The other growth spurt is not mine, but of my friend Matthew Malzoff, who is the CEO of PropTech Connect. You would have, if you have followed my social media, I was in PropTech Connect London. So Matt is only 27 years old, and Matt is the CEO of PropTech Connect, Europe's largest PropTech conference, and he raised $1 million, and he built this conference for the first time. So I have been always supportive of him, and because we both started the journey. He started 3 months before me, and he was ahead of me, and I was starting the journey along with him. So I have been very, very helpful to him. As a result, Matt is also nice to me. It's not transactional. He's nice to me anyways. For a 27-year-old being, he's far, far more wise than anybody else that I've seen. Kind, generous, always been of help to me. So he's building this big conference, and which is supposed to be Europe's largest conference, first conference, Europe's largest conference, attracting over 3,000 people onto that conference. So it was a big canvas for him, and he was doing it for the first time, right? He's never done this before. So he was having his growth journey, and this particular example, on their first day, I went to London. On the first day, there's a keynote going to happen, and he, being the CEO, had to introduce the entire audience on a big auditorium. I will play that video right after this. And I could see him delivering a speech. And he has never delivered a public speech. He's a native Englishman, but still delivering a speech in front of a big audience is a big deal. And I met him the previous day, and he was saying that I do not have words. I do not know the emotions that I'm going through. Tomorrow is a big day, yes, and I could have some of his time in a corner. We were having beer together, and he was telling me these emotions that, Ravi, I do not know. I cannot place a word to the feeling. It's such a big thing. So many people have come from all over the world to my conference, and tomorrow I'm going to give this opening speech. So I told him, this is what growth means. Okay, this is where you have these mixed emotions of fear, of anxiety, of discomfort, and still you need to be there. And next day morning, I was waiting for this moment. So Matt came on stage. Obviously, it was not the best of his speeches. So he was obviously he was not able to take in this big opportunity. So he was he was speaking very softly and hardly able to manage. So the Matt I speak to is a confident Matt, but on the stage, he was speaking very softly. Hardly people behind were able to hear him. There was no energy. Obviously, the moment took the better of him, the big moment. But still, it's the first of many more occasions to come. Is going to grow. But that moment when he spoke in front of 3,000 people on this big auditorium with a big stage with big backlights and stuff like that, was his growth moment. Even though it was not one of the best speeches, but that was his growth moment. He had to go through that phase to be able to eventually go. And come on, imagine, he's 27. Okay, what was I doing in 27? I was chasing bikes and girls at that time, right? Completely clueless about my future. So that is an example of a growth story. I'll play that video and you can have a look.
Inspiration. Of course, it's quite a different setting to what it even was, 5 years ago. So perhaps a lot of people here can be inspired by some of
The third example of my growth that I can pick was in the London event itself. So here I am sitting with. Actually, there were two growth stories. The third one was I'm seated with uh, Cameron, me, and the third person is she represents Asia's largest accelerator, PropTech accelerator. Okay, so they have 75 portfolio companies in their kitty, huge. Okay, they're one of the biggest developers from Asia. So she is seated, Matt is seated, and I am seated, and I'm pitching on why they should join hands with me, why they should use us as an entry for PropTech, their portfolio PropTech companies for US market entry. Okay. And this was just a figment of imagination that I thought we could pull this off with Matt being in the team now. I told Matt that before this meeting, Matt, we need to get this business. We need to be the de facto player in this world where any non-American prop tech company wants to make an entry into the US, they will come through us. Yes, there are some competitors who do it, big, very huge competitors, but we want to be this emergent new player that will help these companies make entry into US and scale successfully. So this was the idea, and we pitched it. And I was pitching it. I was founder, and I still remember pitching it and saying, "Back us." Okay, and usually, what do people back? People do not. People are not rational decision makers. They don't back a logical pitch. They're they're everybody is emotional. Okay, so they are betting you, your story, and your persuasiveness, and how good are you able to tell your story. So I told her, bet on us, see what I have achieved in the last 3 months of 4 months. I was in a company before 4 months. In Within 4 months, I've been able to make the CEO of PropTech Connect my best friend. I've been able to get Cameron onto my team. I've been able to build this product that has got massive virality within 3 to 4 weeks of launch. I've been able to get this woman, the head of this big developer, to come over to London to be on my panel. Uh, okay, so bet on me, bet on my hustle, bet on my DNA of who I am as an individual. So I was trying to sell myself, and she nodded in. I thought I made a good impression, and at the end, she said, "Yeah, we don't see a reason why we cannot partner with you. So I'm happy to make connections of all our 75 uh, prop tech companies in our portfolio, and you can work with them, and you can see whether it's the cash plus equity plus revenue share, whatever is the model is." And that was a big moment because we cracked a deal right there. Obviously, this did not happen just in that meeting. That meeting was the culmination of all the hard work and relationship building that I did with them in the last 3 to 4 months. She was on my podcast before, so I was trying to build relationship. In fact, the MD, who is the owner of this big developer who was on my panelist, I sent her a book just yesterday. It reached. The book was Elon Musk's biography that got released. Isaac Walterson's book. So yeah, all this relationship building is important because the first meeting nobody would give you a chance, right? So they know you, they see who you are, and stuff like that. So yeah, so these were, I just wanted to share with you how does growth happens. How should you punch above your weight. Only when you punch above your weight, only when you go beyond your current capacity and capability and try to chase them, that's where the growth happens. Growth is always a stretch. If you're always operating in your comfort zone, if you're always operating on your current strengths, you will not grow. To grow, you need to go beyond. The further you go, the bigger your goals are, the bigger is your stretch, and the bigger is your growth. Just wanted to share that. I hope you liked it. Today is a Saturday. There's a lot of work piling, but still, I thought I should be doing this more often because this entire journey, as I said, is new. So I'm looking at new sceneries every day, new scenarios, new experiences, and when I share this, it's such a sad thing that so many entrepreneurs go through this journey and they don't share these experiences. Yes, some people write some books later when they succeed, but I think those books cannot also capture these micro experiences. I think what they should be doing more is share daily experiences of growth, of newness and stuff like that. I know why they don't do it, because entrepreneurs are massively busy. Like I do not know how I found time today, but I also am massively busy because there's not enough people in my team, and I'm the bottleneck. I'm needed in almost any all kinds of work. So that's why I feel why early entrepreneurs, they do not have enough time to share, but they should share, is how I feel, because others who are following the same journey later would massively benefit from this. See you around. Bye bye.